Tier 1, Chapter 18. In this chapter, you're going to see a little bit more of Eric and Kate when they were young.
Chapter 18. I dream again. That same linen skirt, the same terrified eyes on my mother's face. I wake up in a cold sweat and reach for Eric like I always do. I am actually surprised to feel him there. It's a rare occurrence these days. I suddenly feel vulnerable. Old me and Eric would cuddle up and talk, but I don't know what to expect now. He doesn't stir, so I surreptitiously slide over to him, running my hand covertly across his chest and down his side. My body shudders in response. His soft skin prickles under my touch, and I hold my breath when his hand gently moves over mine. He pulls me close and kisses my cheek, then pauses, suddenly moving away and sitting up. Tears spring to my eyes, and I quickly brush them away. "Sorry to wake you," I say, hoping to salvage the moment. "Did you get in late?"
"It's okay. I did."
"How long will you be here this time?" I ask, not allowing myself to break.
2 days. They wanted to make sure I had some time with the boys before I head out into outlying communities. I'm not sure how long I'll be gone this time around.
Outlying communities? More training or more pairs found? Both?
Both. Everything is moving along well. It's just busier with more pairs. We have more work to do.
Makes sense. Do you have plans today? I didn't know you would be here, so I scheduled for us to go visit my mom's Tier 2 distribution center. I know the boys always love serving there. I'm sorry if that's not ideal.
That works. I just want to spend time with them. Happy to do whatever.
Time with them? What about me? Heat rises to my face. I slide off the opposite side of the bed and hurriedly turn on the shower, making a point to undress near the bed, right in front of him. In the shower, I mentally cling to anything that was good, trying to convince myself that I'm not crazy, and I am drawn into one of my favorite memories with him. A few months after we met, he somehow got clearance for us to drive out of territory together. I knew that we were going to officially pair at some point, but the anticipation of when and how was deliciously agonizing. Eric showed up at my room and asked me if I had any plans over the next couple of days. I listed off my mundane training tasks. I remember him saying something like,
"If I told you that I was going to take you somewhere for a couple of days, would you be able to skip all that?"
I wish I could say that I threw caution to the wind, jumped into his arms, and went to the car right then. Instead, I blinked far too many times and stuttered out my concerns, saying that I would love to, but didn't know if that would be approved. He laughed and put his hands on my shoulders.
"I was trying to surprise you. I already got clearance for both of us. It's all approved,"
he said, smiling. That's when I remembered jumping into his arms. He carried me down to the car, and I realized I didn't have any clothes or necessities packed. He smiled and said he had already taken care of it. I found out later that Alyssa had helped him pilfer some items earlier that morning when I was exercising. We sat in the back of the car, getting to know each other much better. My heart begins pounding just thinking about it. We refueled, talked, slept, and ate food that he had packed. When we arrived at our destination the next evening, I remember feeling completely filled. My whole being was alive and tingling. And then we stepped out of the car. To this day, I have never seen something as breathtaking as that view. We were looking out over the sheer edges of the Grand Canyon. I had read about it and seen pictures of it, but none of that even came close to doing it justice. The colors in the stones were breathtaking. Oranges and reds turning to purple as the sun set. My brain couldn't comprehend the sheer magnitude of it. I felt compelled to run through it, to touch it, just to convince myself that it was real. I got my chance when we did some hiking the next day. Then, arriving back up to the rim, Eric took my hands in his and asked if I wanted to pair with him. It was the best moment of my life up until that point, probably still in my current top 3. I still have no idea how he was able to get us clearance or approval for the extra fuel and mileage. Every year or so, I ask him, and he always grins, giving me some ridiculous answer. I doubt I will ever know the real one. Now, I wonder if I will ever get the chance to ask again. I chastise myself for being so quick to jump to conclusions. If this is a season of intense stress for Eric, it will pass. I steel myself to support him and stop allowing his icy demeanor to send me into personal crisis. It will pass. It has to. We don't say much to each other the rest of the morning, and I get the impression that Eric is purposefully avoiding me. With frustration ever present in my currently aching heart, it makes things easier for me. The boys eat breakfast and are so excited to go to the center, they rush through their morning tasks so that we can leave sooner, despite the fact that I have repeatedly announced an 11 o'clock appointment time. Finally giving up, I decide to leave early. If they can accommodate us, great. If not, there is a fun little park on the corner where we can burn some time. Eric plays cards with the boys on the way down. All the while, the boys pepper him with questions about his research. He answers. Every single one of them. I stare out the window, seething, tears burning in the corners of my eyes. We do end up spending some time at the park, but I can't even begin to enjoy watching Eric run around with the boys. Luckily, I brought my tablet, allowing me to work and distract myself. When our appointment time draws near, I gather up the boys and we walk over to the distribution center. As we enter, the comforting effect it has on me is immediate. Every part of this place reminds me of my mom. The shelves are stacked with raw goods, scales dot the counters, and scanner stations are on the wall, just as I remember. People haven't arrived yet to start collecting rations, but there's still plenty to do. Noticing the pod out back, I ask if we can begin unloading. Receiving the go-ahead, we begin to pull out all of the fresh produce. Tall, leafy kale, crisp Jerusalem artichokes, radishes, and garlic scapes fill our boxes as we take load after load. Every week, distribution centers like this one open their doors for Tier 2 individuals and families. It's much like ours, but the options aren't as widely varied. People go to their assigned centers, scan their sensors, and receive their portions for the week. According to my mom, Tier 2 portions used to be much smaller than those in Tier 1, but they have been fairly similar since I started serving here. Another sign that our system is working. We have enough to take care of Tier 1 and provide plenty for those in lower tiers. Though I haven't ever seen a Tier 3 center, I assume it's similar. I make a mental note to plan a time to serve there and check it out. Tal and Bentley only lose a couple of items from the pod onto the road. For the most part, they are extremely careful and meticulous, understanding how important it is to avoid waste. Once we have finished, we close the pod and send it on its way. Then, on to organizing and preparing for pickups. Eric works right alongside us, talking to the boys all afternoon. I get nothing from him, so I throw myself into connecting with the faces in front of me, filling orders as quickly and efficiently as possible. A woman in line casually mentions her service years ago at a Tier 3 center, and I tune in, but I'm somewhat disappointed. She isn't sharing details, just commenting on the fact that she feels more gratitude at receiving her own portions now after being assigned there. I ruminate on this while measuring out oats for the next order, my scoop plunging into the wide bucket. I have never thought much about what Tier 2 individuals do to serve, and it sparks my interest. Cassidy could be a good resource there. I have always been so focused on helping them progress that I haven't ever taken time to understand their lives. Moving swiftly between orders, I don't even notice Tia in the line until she calls my name and waves. I put down my bowl and go around the counter to give her a hug, figuring the boys can cover for me for a second. "Tia, how are you?" I ask, grinning. "I'm okay," she says. "Last week I found a lump in my armpit." My heart sinks. Please be just a swollen lymph node. "The doctor says it's cancer. I'm starting treatment this weekend," she elaborates. "Tia, I'm so sorry. How is your family taking the news?" "They are hopeful that the treatments will work," she smiles wanly. "I am too. They are making huge strides in many areas. Hopefully yours will respond. All I want is to see my grandbaby. That's at least 1.5 years away. My goal is to last that long." "I think you are determined enough to make it," I say, rubbing her shoulder. I have to get back to help, but what number are you? I'll go fill your order now. She smiles and thanks me while I measure her portions. I wave, watching her go, and feel Eric's eyes on me. I turn, not looking up, and process the next order.